Alright, so a year ago I did a video like this and it did pretty well and you guys really enjoyed it, so I thought, hey, might as well make this an annual video series where every single year I rank all the parks that I've been to collectively. As of when this video is being recorded, I have been to 13 different parks around the US and I definitely have opinions on all of them. So without further ado, here is all of the parks that I've been to ranked from worst to best based off my opinion 2022 edition. Number 13, Arnold's Park in Arnold's Park, Iowa. And listen, I feel really bad for putting it this low on the list because this park, there really isn't anything wrong with it. It's just that it's a very small micro park. It's very charming though. It really feels like it's from a different era. Like almost all the rides here were not built in the 21st century. Like pretty much all of them are just really old school and I love that. It's a really cool atmosphere and it's a perfect family park too. Also, the employees are super nice and it's just a really good time, though not something that's high on my bucket list, or I don't think anyone's bucket list. It's still a decent park for all it is, but like I said, it's just really tiny. Number 12, Frontier City in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is the smallest Six Flags park I've been to, and kind of like Arnold's Park, this park has great atmosphere, but the rides kind of fail to impress me, except for Diamondback. That thing is amazing. It's too bad it's closed half the time, but I've been on it and it's a great ride, so I love Diamondback. And Silver Bullet's pretty good too, but the rest of the roller coasters aren't really my thing. Same with the flat rides. There was like one flat ride I liked, but all the rest of them, they're just whatever. This park is also pretty small, and I went to this park and I pretty much got everything done in like 2-3 hours, so it's easily squeezable in a road trip in my opinion, and the employees are super nice too. Overall, it's a nice little park, but definitely not anything noteworthy. Number 11, Mount Olympus in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. And oh boy, I definitely have my opinions on this park, so let's talk about the good stuff first, shall we? This park has an excellent top 3. Hades 360, Zeus, and Cyclops, that's an amazing top 3. Those are great roller coasters, I love them. But the rest of this park though, is absolutely crap. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Like, the operations here, where do I even start? Like, the maintenance just isn't there. Like, the rides are in bad shape, let's just say that. Like, I think I was on Zeus, and I looked down on the train, and there was like a hole where my shoe was, and it was just like, it was so weird. The operations were just really slow here too. Like, a part of that is because for every single roller coaster, they only have one operator per coaster, except for Hades because that one requires 2. But for the ones with only 1, I don't know how that's legal, man. Like, that is just really poor operations right there. Also, I did not like the atmosphere. Like, the park just doesn't look that good. It's just really barren, it's very brown, and there's not really much color around here. Also, the flat ride collection is terrible, in my opinion. There's like one good flat ride. Just overall, not really a good park in my opinion. The roller coasters are great, but the rest of the park though really lacks. I did hear the water park is pretty good though, so maybe I'll try that next time. Oh, and one more thing. When I was there, I didn't see any security officers anywhere, like not even the front gate checking bags. Like there was just nothing, like no one at the front gate checking tickets or bags. It was just really weird. Anyways, moving on. Making the top 10 is Lost Island Theme Park in Waterloo, Iowa. For those of you who've been on my channel for a while now, you definitely know that I was super excited for this park. And after visiting this park for the first time, I can say with confidence that it lived up to most of the hype. Seriously, first impressions were pretty good for a park that's, never existed prior. They could definitely improve some things, but, I mean, it was a pretty decent first season. Nupuku Air Coaster was a little bit disappointing with how rough that one inversion is, but the rest of the ride was honestly okay and kind of enjoyable. It was just that one part that was kinda meh. Also, the flat ride collection I think is pretty good, and if this park succeeds, I can definitely see more great flat rides coming to this park. Not only that, but the atmosphere is just so vibrant, it's so colorful, the employees are super nice and super efficient, and Volcano, the dark ride, that was one of the best dark rides I've ever been on, so that says a lot because I don't usually like dark rides that much, but I definitely like that one a lot. Overall, pretty solid first impression, but of course the really big disappointment this year was that Montugani and their other log ride, I think, was to close the entire season because the log ride had a fire that happened when it was being built that delayed its opening, and Montugani is an Intamin coaster. They always, there's always something going on with them. But these two attractions are going to open up next year, so I am definitely excited for that. I am definitely coming back next year. I think this park is great. It has amazing potential. I hope for the best for this park. Coming in at number 9 is Nickelodeon Universe at the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota. Just like with Lost Island Theme Park, this one has just a very colorful and vibrant atmosphere and amazing energy because it's indoors and smack dab in the middle of the biggest mall in America. In terms of roller coasters, it's pretty impressive for an indoor park in my opinion. Rock Bottom Plunge, people hate this coaster, but I personally love it. It packs a punch, and it's definitely my favorite coaster here. Pepsi Orange Streak has great views and is a long ride. Fairly Odd Coaster is fun for the entire family. Avatar Airbender is also really fun, but this park also nails it in the flat ride department. There is plenty of good flat rides here, like Shell Shock, Mutant Masher, and my personal favorite, the best flat ride in all of Minnesota, the Log Chute. Honestly, one of the best log chutes in the entire country. Now, as for operations, I honestly don't pay that much attention almost every single time, so I'm just going to say that they're good, alright? Number 8 is Adventureland in Altoona, Iowa. And this was the first time I revisited this park since 2019, and I gotta say, my second time here was a lot better than the first time. Gone is Dragon, and in its place is the much more enjoyable Dragon Slayer. Also, Monster is one of my all-time favorite roller coasters. I love this thing. Phoenix was also pretty fun. And, Outlaw actually kind of surprised me. It was a lot better than the first time I rode it back in 2019. It had some great airtime moments. It was kind of rough, but, still a good ride. Tornado, though, is still a piece of crap in my opinion. But the flat rides are also pretty decent, kind of on par with Lost Island and Nickelodeon Universe in my opinion. As far as operations go, the employees here are super nice, but it's not the most efficient park on this list, but hey, what are you gonna do? Adventureland was still good on this visit, and I definitely look forward to going back again. Okay, so real quick, the next 2 parks on this list were super hard to rank, and honestly, these 2 parks are interchangeable. It really depends on what I feel like that morning. So I guess number 7 is Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, Missouri. Now, I was supposed to revisit this park this year, but it was canceled due to cold weather. But oh well, next year they have a new roller coaster anyway, so I really want to go to Worlds of Fun then. But I'm going to go off of my experience in 2021 for this review. Worlds of Fun has a pretty solid roller coaster lineup. Obviously, Prowler is my favorite here. I love GCIs, and Prowler is definitely a good one. I really wanted to ride Trimless Mamba this year, but I unfortunately couldn't. So that means Mamba is still my least favorite hypercoaster, but I still really enjoyed it. Patriot is an average B&M invert, I guess. I mean, it's one of the weaker B&M inverts for sure, but it's still a very fun ride, and I love the color scheme. Timberwolf, man, I really want to give this roller coaster a second try because my first ride really wasn't that good, and Boomerang sucks. Spinning Dragons is a great family coaster, and yeah, overall, pretty solid roller coaster lineup. Now for flat rides, I didn't ride any flat rides here, but from what I saw, it looked like they had a pretty good lineup, so I'll say it's pretty good. And for operations, it was kind of hit or miss. For one, they had one train ops on almost every single roller coaster except for Patriot and Mamba, so the lines were just super crazy that day, and At least they're friendly, but just like with Adventureland, not the most efficient park on this list. And coming in 6th place by a teeny tiny amount is Valley Fair in Shakopee, Minnesota. This is my home park, and in my previous video, I've already talked about all the stuff that happened at Valley Fair this year, so I don't really want to repeat myself here, so I'll briefly summarize it. Steel Venom was closed almost every single day, Renegade was running super slow for most of the season except for October, Tricks and Treats absolutely sucked, Valley Fair had a staffing issue which led to slower operations and a lack of security guards, and Delirious still exists. Honestly, it's arguable whether or not Worlds of Fun in its current state is better than Valley Fair in its current state because, I mean, Worlds of Fun's getting a new roller coaster, so by the time that happens, I think Worlds of Fun will be better than Valley Fair. I still love Valley Fair, and I just really want to see this park do better. Number 5 is Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas. This is the original Six Flags park, and it was my first time going to any Six Flags park, period. And I was actually very impressed. This park is pretty good in my opinion. I mean, come on, you have an RMC New Texas Giant, and you have Shockwave, which is a really surprisingly good ride. Titan is not really a bad hypercoaster, but it's not really good either. It's just kind of okay, but it's still pretty fun. Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast is still one of my favorite launch coasters. Batman the Ride is a very intense B&M invert, and there's some more decent and not so decent supporting coasters that make up a pretty respectable roller coaster lineup. And the flat ride lineup is equally as respectable. I mean, come on, they have the original log flume. I think that's pretty cool. As for the atmosphere, I thought it was pretty alright for the most part, but the Gotham City section really wasn't my thing. This park also has great operations too. I mean, for a Six Flags park, it's a really good Six Flags park, and I definitely think it's underrated. Next up, number 4, Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina, and also kind of South Carolina too. Right off the bat, I will say that this park's roller coaster lineup is really top heavy, but dude, don't even get me started on Fury 325. Holy crap, what a phenomenal ride. This thing rocks. Intimidator is an amazing B&M hypercoaster, Afterburn is my favorite B&M invert, and Copperhead Strike has a really terrible launch, but the layout and the rest of the ride is just fantastic. But after that, you have like 1 or 2 coasters that are okay at best, and the rest of them are not even worth talking about. Now, for flat rides, this park does okay, but they could definitely do better, especially in the water ride department. I don't know how, but Carowinds has no water ride in the dry park at all. The atmosphere of the park was alright. This park was really clean, but in some parts it felt very corporate. The operations were also hit or miss. Like, the more popular rides like Fury, Intimidator, Afterburn, and Copperhead had really good operations, but some of the other roller coasters really didn't have that efficient operations, and some of the employees were really friendly, others not so much. Like I said, it was hit or miss. This park could definitely improve some things, but I mean, that top 4 coaster lineup alone really sold this park to me, and I am so looking forward to coming back to this park. Okay, one more time real quick. The next 2 parks on this list were also super hard to rank, and like I said, it really depends on what I feel like that morning. These 2 are kind of interchangeable, but anyways, number 3, Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Now listen, I love this park. I mean, Lightning Rod alone speaks for itself. Thunderhead though was also fantastic. GCI is known for making great roller coasters, and Thunderhead is no exception. Wild Eagle is my favorite wing coaster, Tennessee Tornado is my favorite aero looper, and Dollywood has some of the best family coasters you'll ever find. Also, the theming and atmosphere just knocks it out of the park for me. This park is beautiful, it's very well themed, the employees are super nice and very efficient. I mean, This park has a lot going for it. Honestly, I can't really complain about this park because this place is just phenomenal and it will only improve when they open their new coaster next year. I am definitely coming back here because this park is top tier. And it's crazy because we still have 2 parks to talk about. Taking silver this year is Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. Now, this place is owned by the same company as Dollywood, and these 2 parks share a lot of similarities, hence why it was so hard to rank them. But I think Silver Dollar City has the slight edge over Dollywood. Even though Outlaw Run is not as good as Lightning Rod, it's still a very underrated RMC in my opinion, and night rides on this thing are just magical. And dude, Time Traveler is insanity at its best. I mean, this thing is just crazy unique and just crazy fun. I'm a big fan. And Powder Keg. I love Powder Keg, it's a great launch coaster, and it's something that Dollywood is lacking, at least right now. Wildfire ranks very similarly to Wild Eagle in my opinion, and Thunderation is definitely the best aero mine train I've ever been on. All in all, the ride collection here, rock solid. The theming, the atmosphere, and the hospitality is very similar to Dollywood, and I love that. In fact, I think this park does those things a little bit better than Dollywood. Silver Dollar City is just a pleasure to visit, and I am for sure coming back again soon. And taking first place for the 2nd year in a row is the one, the only, Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. It's going to have to take a really amazing park to dethrone Cedar Point for me, because this place, man, is a roller coaster paradise. Like, do I even have to explain the roller coaster lineup to you? It's Cedar Point. You got Millennium Force, you got Maverick, you got Magnum XL 200, you got Raptor, you got Gatekeeper, you got Steel freaking Vengeance. I mean, this place is just incredible how many great roller coasters this park holds. Cedar Point has a very distinct atmosphere, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, just being in a park with this much rich history is just really special to me. Like, I remember my first time going to Cedar Point like it was yesterday, and driving up to the park. I mean, I have never been so excited in my entire life, and I've never been so excited for a park like that ever. And that just speaks to how special Cedar Point is to me and millions of other people. On top of that, this place is clean, it looks nice, and they pride themselves on their super safe and lightning fast operations. Cedar Point is truly a place like no other, and that's why it remains still my all-time favorite amusement park. And with that, this video is coming to a close. What do you guys think of my list? Please let me know in the comment section below, and it would be an amazing Christmas present to me if you can like this video, and if you're new around here, please hit subscribe. That would really mean a lot to me. But with all of that said, guys, have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time on North Star Coasters. Okay, thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you have a really good Christmas, and yes, I am well aware that I still need to make my credit ranking video. That's coming soon. I really hope I can get that finished by the end of the year, but yeah, have a good day.